frugal people don't use their emergency fund unless it is a true emergency. We don't use our emergency funds for Christmas. We don't use them to go on a shopping spree. We don't use them to get the latest technology on a whim. We use our emergency fund for true emergencies. That would include job loss. That would include a medical emergency. That would include your car breaks down and you can't get from here to there. True emergencies are what the emergency fund is for. If it is not an emergency, we don't touch it. Keep a balance on a credit card. I do use credit cards, but I pay them off every single month, so I never ever pay interest. Interest rates on credit cards are really high. And again, if you're not in the habit of paying them off every month and you're more likely to carry a balance, I would encourage you to probably steer more toward using a debit card where you're using money that you actually have if you are in the habit of overspending on a credit card. But if you use credit cards responsibly, use credit cards. It keeps track of what you're spending, and if you are responsible with it and you know you're not going to not pay it, I have no problem with credit cards. Just always make sure to pay it off every single month. There are some side benefits of this. As you know, you can gain reward points and use those to gift to other people or to use for yourself, but you have to use them responsibly. Just spend money every single day. As a frugal person, I have my little things that I like to do, but one of the big things that I like to do is have a no-spend Sunday. Basically every Sunday. I really try not to spend money on Sunday. I try not to take out that debit card, my cash, anything. I try to just not spend money on Sunday. Sundays are often a day of rest, and I also choose to give my wallet a rest also. So if I can avoid spending money on Sundays, I will. That's not to say that if something special comes up that I won't because it's Sunday. I'm a lot more flexible than that. Take a vacation unless it's in the budget. I would never just on a whim go on a vacation, book a flight, go somewhere, put it on a credit card because I didn't have the actual money. Frugal people usually don't do that. Frugal people do take vacations, but when frugal people take vacations, they often plan way in advance, they budget for it, and they only pay what they have put aside. We're less likely to put things on credit cards. We're less likely to overspend. We know what we've saved. This is something that will take some time. It will take a little bit of effort to remind yourself that just because the people next door got a new lawn put in, just because the people on the other side just came in with a brand new car, just because the person next door pulled in with their new boat that they're about to go launch, does not mean that you are any less in any way. We don't know their personal financial situation. They might be getting these things and going into a world of debt that we don't even know about, and going through stresses that we will never know about because that's not what people talk about on the regular, right? So when you're thinking that you're comparing yourself to others, try to stop.
In order to save more, pay off our debts, and regain control of our finances. So what did we do, and what can you do to save money in this area? If you spend a huge chunk of your money on eating out every week, then I can only imagine how much you spend in 1 year's time. See, if you're looking to save more, then you should strongly consider recreating your favorite meals at home rather than eating out. Not only will it save you a ton of money, but to be honest, it's a bit more fun. It's making sure your monthly payment is no more than 1/4 of your take-home pay. If it is, then you might be paying too much, which will result in you not being able to reach your other financial goals because too much of your monthly income is going into housing expenses. Now, this is great, especially if you own a home or have a car, and if you're renting instead, then just ignore the home ownership part of this conversation. See, preventative maintenance is all about preventing normal wear and tear from getting worse and becoming a much bigger problem, which in turn will cost you much more to fix.
What people don't do is waste electricity. Now, I know for me personally, I shut off all lights and even the air conditioning if I don't absolutely need it. So I try to conserve as much as possible so that way I am not wasting my money on things that I'm not actually utilizing. Smart lights are amazing for this, as well as smart thermostats. So they don't actually have to waste a lot of money to spend time. There's things such as board games that you can get so you can play together, you can watch movies on Netflix, you can just hang out and have conversations. I know it's really weird in 2019 to just sit down and have conversations face to face, but that's a really cool thing that a lot of frugal people know, is that you don't have to waste a lot of money when it comes to spending time with your family. Okay, so this one is an interesting one, but frugal people don't like to waste money at vending machines, or even convenience stores for that matter. The cost of getting those items is outrageous. Frugal people don't like to let produce go bad. Now, for most frugal people, they tend to eat a lot of the things that can go bad early on in the week after grocery shopping than later down in the week. So at least for me and a lot of other frugal people I know, we tend to eat produce and things that can go bad quickly earlier and then leave all the frozen foods for later in the week so that way things don't go bad. Last thing I hate is honestly seeing my fruits and vegetables go bad. It really feels like I'm throwing away money. Frugal people don't ignore clearance racks, and this is 100% true for me. Everywhere I go, I always look for the clearance rack, especially at Targets. I know exactly where they're at, and I know exactly if I'm getting a great deal. So for me, I personally love going to the clearance racks to make sure I'm getting a good deal. Frugal people don't ignore clearance racks, and this is 100% true for me. Everywhere I go, I always look for the clearance rack, especially at Targets. I know exactly where they're at, and I know exactly if I'm getting a great deal. So for me, I personally love going to the clearance racks to make sure I'm getting a good deal.
Frugality and health are often thought of as opposites, but in reality they go hand in hand. Frugal people are often very mindful of their health because they know that good health is one of the best ways to save money. After all, if you're healthy, you're less likely to need expensive medical treatment. Furthermore, frugal people tend to be proactive about their health rather than waiting until they get sick to take action. They may eat healthy foods and exercise regularly in order to avoid developing chronic conditions that require costly treatment. In short, being frugal doesn't mean ignoring your health. It simply means being smart about how you spend your money on healthcare. Frugal people are always looking for ways to save money, and one of the smartest ways to do this is to make a grocery list before heading to the store. By taking the time to plan out their meals and write down a list of necessary items, they can avoid impulse purchases and stick to their budget. Additionally, frugal shoppers often take advantage of sales and coupons, which can help them save even more money. By being prepared and taking the time to find good deals, frugal people can ensure that they always get the best possible price on their groceries. Frugal people are known for their ability to save money and stretch their resources. However, frugality is also about being smart with money and making sure that it is being used in the most efficient way possible. One area where this is particularly important is in paying bills. Frugal people never pay bills late because they understand that doing so comes with a number of costly consequences. Late fees can add up quickly, and missing a payment can result in damage to your credit score. Furthermore, many utility companies charge higher rates for customers who have a history of late payments. By always paying their bills on time, frugal people avoid these penalties and save themselves a significant amount of money. Instead, they will try to repair it, reuse it, or sell it. This mindset also leads the frugal person to be creative in their use of resources. They are always looking for ways to stretch their dollar and get the most out of what they have. As a result, frugality is more than just a way to save money. It is a lifestyle that values resourcefulness and creativity.
I believe there's a huge difference in the way that successful people and unsuccessful people think. And I believe that success itself is not some big mystery that people haven't figured out before, even though when we are struggling and we're fighting and we're just trying to make it through day by day and get better and better and better, it can feel like this arduous, unknowable process, but success has been figured out. And we all know it's a mindset game. I mean, most of success is just about how we use our psychology. I remember when I was going to start my business and I really wanted to be good at it. You know, I was trying to become an author and a speaker and do these types of videos and do some online training for people on the topics of motivation and marketing. And all these people were saying, well, Brendan, you may or may not be successful at that, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, it's a weird thing. It's not like there's a trait of successful people. You look across history, and successful people, they're not from a given background, they don't come from a specific economic stature, they're not in a position where, they're one demographic or another demographic. I mean, it's all over. I mean, we've got thousands of collective years of history. People succeed, some people do, some people don't. And I think it more comes down to how do we manage our mind and how do we manage our days? And I think that there's a difference between successful people and unsuccessful people in the way they particularly think about approaching something new. I think unsuccessful
know that seed is there, but then one day you kind of, oh my gosh, this thing, and you get excited about it and you feel that impulse. You're like, this is my thing. I'm like, oh, that was a seed sown in your heart, and maybe your creator is saying, oh, water that dream. Let that dream flourish. Make that dream come true. You were given that as a gift, as a challenge to activate your potential, maybe for some of you as a purpose. But I think if within you have an impulse to do something extraordinary with your life or for your family, I'm like, hound that down.